Hello everybody, I'm Katie Burtwell from the Walpole Historical Commission.
And I'm Betsy Dyer from the Walpole Historical Society.
When we began to plan for Walpole 300, we decided to ask Walpole seniors their memories about living in our town. We taped the interviews, and now it's time for everyone to see them. Walpole Media will publicize the names of each person along with the dates each interview will be shown.
The history of a small town like Walpole is not just about the big mill owners and politicians like the Byrds and the Lewises and the Plimptons. It's really all about who was living there, working there, going to school, how they were part of this community and living their everyday lives. I think historians of Walpole 100 years from now will be grateful to come across these transcripts or tapes because these are part of the real Walpole history they'll be interested in. And I think you're going to enjoy these. Maybe you know the person that's being interviewed, but perhaps you just enjoy a good story, and there are lots of good stories here.
So sit back and learn about Walpole history from those who live it. This is Stories of Historic Walpole. Hi everybody, I'm Katie Burtwell and this is Stories of Historic Walpole. And I am very pleased to have Mr. Joe Walpole, Mr. Joe Morgan here. And how long have you lived in Walpole?
I was born in School Street in 1930. And I live only about a half a mile from there.
Is that right?
On Oak Hill Drive, yeah. So definitely a townie.
Definitely. So I'm just going to let you tell us about whatever you like.
Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about the 38 hurricane. I was in the first grade then. I was diddling around after school. It was raining a little bit, and it was pretty windy, and I went uptown and finally got home late, and we lived on School Street, only 100 yards from the school, so my father says to me, "Don't you know there's a hurricane around?" Hurricane? What was that? He didn't even know what a hurricane was then. I found out that later. You know why he didn't?
Why?
Because it was the first hurricane to hit the Atlantic coast in over 100 years after the one that hit in 1938.
Yes.
So, now, here's a trivia for you. You don't have to answer this. After the 38 hurricane, when was the next hurricane that hit the Atlantic coast? You're the only one that's ever gotten this, and I've asked a bunch of people that were on the earth when this happened.
44.
Yes, 1944. The reason the other hurricane, 38, was so bad was nobody knew what was going on and nobody battened anything down. But this hurricane, they were ready for it, and it turned out to be a dud-like, but it was a hurricane. Definitely a hurricane. So, like now in Providence, they had a lot of people killed because the water was up 10, 12 feet downtown, which is amazing. So the two hurricanes after the one in 44 were 54 and 55. Now the 55 one flooded Walpole Center by Route 27 and 1A.
Tell us about what that was like.
Well, I was in the Army for both of these. So,
was there anybody in your family here?
Oh, they were all here, but they were riding around in canoes and boats helping each other.
Is that right?
So what happened was, after that they configured the dam up in Washington Street or whatever they had. Now, do you know where Allen's Pond was in those days?
Yes.
Where was it?
I think it was on the other side of where that reservoir is now.
What
At the end,
street?
at the end of Stone Street?
No,
No? Am I wrong?
no. Allen's Pond was across from the Walpole Woodworkers.
Oh,
Little pond there on Eastover Road there.
okay.
And when this thing was configured, it stopped the water from going in there, and the pond turned into weeds.
Huh.
Because it was a good pond early in the year, it was very shallow, and it froze in a hurry. And it was about the size of a decent hockey rink. And they played hockey against other towns, Walpole High then, before they had the Boston Arena then. That's where they played. But of course, they had the boards there. They had to take them off every night so they wouldn't sink if it got hot. And there's another pond in Walpole too it's on the old golf course, which is, what's the name of that place now where they live there, across from Baker Street? I always forget the
Highland
name of it.
Crest.
Huh?
Highland Crest?
Yeah, it's one of those names.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a big pond there. That was the old golf course. Now, what was the name of that pond?
I can't tell you.
You can't or you won't?
I can't. I don't know.
Well,
Tell me.
someone told me lately it's called the Rainbow Pond,
Huh.
but that's not the name of the pond. It was called Brummett's Pond,
Brummets.
and it was supposedly very deep. So they said, don't skate there until the ice is really thick. So I only skated there once, as far as I know. And of course, we had plenty of ponds everywhere else, but that was Brummett's. We had a guy named Moose Miatino. He had these glasses, and he would dive in the water every other week and come up with a ton of golf balls.
Is that right?
No one else did it
He
either.
salvaged them.
So, what else can I tell you about Brummett's?
Was it named after a man that owned the land, or do you know?
I could never figure that out.
Yeah,
I even asked Carl West about it. He didn't know the name,
that's
which
unusual.
surprised me.
Yeah.
So, that's the other question. What's the name of that pond? Now, there's a pond on the new golf course, which was there all the time. I don't know what that is called. A lot of people think it's Allen's Pond, but it's not. And here's what happened there. The hurricane of '38 murdered the apple orchard. That's what it was.
It was an orchard.
Yeah, a big orchard. So as 1944 hurricane arrived, somebody in the Allens came to the high school and said, I was in the junior high, and they said to us, we've got permission to let anybody out that wants to come up and pick apples here before this '44 hurricane comes up. Well, I was one of them, so I went up there. Now they had a bushel basket, not a big bushel, but a pretty good sized barrel, and they gave it to you, and you went around and picked the apples. And when I finished one barrel, this guy would drive around in a little car there. He'd take the barrels from you and give you a nickel. You got a nickel a barrel. And I said, this isn't for me. So I slid over to the side. I put the barrel down. I went through the woods and went home for the rest of the day.
Oh, what a great
Great
story.
guy. Oh my God. Apple, picking at apples. God. Let's see what else we got. Brummett's, the old course, that pond. I still don't know the name of that one at the new golf course. That was there forever, and the new one was built somewhere around the '80s, so
Yes, that's true.
yeah, it's still there. What else have I got here before we go on to something else?
What was
Oh, we got one more pool I'd like to talk
it?
about.
Okay.
It was a little pool in the town forest. It was called Eighth Pool.
Eighth pool.
You might find a penny or a dime, nothing big. A quarter would have been the biggest. So that's what we did constant. We checked that thing out every day, 3 or 4 of us.
Well, a quarter was a lot of money.
Oh yeah, every quarter and nickel and dime I ever got as a kid, I bought an ice cream cone with it.
Where did you buy it?
We bought it at Wellington's drugstore.
Wellington's.
And then they had a fire there, around 1940, I believe, maybe a little later, and it became Mensa's drugstore. And that stayed there for quite a while, till this jewelry company moved in there.
Do you remember when the ice house
Went
over
on fire?
Yeah, when it burned
Yeah.
down.
I do.
Can you tell me about it?
That was on Stone Street in
Yes.
Mass Ave.
Yes,
That was roughly, I think, in the early 40s.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and it burned down like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yes.
I don't know how it started, though. The guy named Horn was working there when I knew it after that. But then I don't know if they ever found out how it started, but it burnt down pretty good. And there was another ice house up in Turner's Pond. We'd go in there in the summer and be amazed. There was blocks of ice, and it was 102 degrees out, and they were sitting on the straw not melting, with the doors closed naturally. It was quite a sight. I think Turner's Pond had another name before Turner's outfit, but Maury's.
I think you're right.
I think it was Maury's Pond.
Yes.
That pond was amazing.
Tell me about it.
There was a stream that ran in the back end of it, and I skated in 1947 in April 5th of that year. It was one of those years that we did have a lot of snow, but we had a ton of cold weather, and I would say the ice was at least 22 or 3 inches thick.
In April.
Well, it was down a little, but it was still good then when the
Yeah.
other ponds were gonzo. I skated there quite a few times in April, from April 1st to 5th to 6th.
And you knew Mr. Turner, of course.
By all means, he was an Olympic guy, pretty good, and he had a carnival every February. And they brought Sonia Haney there, Dick Button, and all those big shots, because he knew them all. And they had the carnival, and then they had a hockey game and races and all kinds of good stuff. So I think it was Maury's. Why do I think it? I don't know, but
No, I think you're absolutely right.
yeah.
Were there activities at the town hall or at Blackburn during the war years?
Yeah, there was.
Did they show movies down there?
What they did in the Blackburn Hall was they played high school basketball there.
Basketball.
Yeah, I don't know how far back that was, but I know. And the Blackburn Memorial Hall, in the wintertime, we'd go in there one day and we'd leave one window open way in the back. There was big shades there, so you get around the thing and leave the door open, and no one would ever know it. So we would go in there in the winter with a bat and a tennis ball, and they had a balcony there, and we'd be smoking that tennis ball all the time.
That's
And we had a lookout. One of the guys would be out in the front hall checking the police station to see, because they kicked us out of there a few times. There's all kinds of stuff in there, how they used to leave the boards on the ice and they sunk to the bottom when it got real hot.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I remember at Memorial Pond, they had them there around 1941 or so, and they left them there a week or 10 days, and they sunk to the bottom, and they never got them out, I don't think.
Is that right?
Yeah. One time, they had a rink set up next to the swimming pool there.
Yeah.
They smoothened it out. They had the boards there, and they planted grass there. And by the time the winter came around, that grass was pretty good all around in there. Anyway, the water froze around there pretty good. They sent the water in there themselves. And the first week that it was really nice, now they went down there to start skating, and the ice was like this. The water underneath had seeped out, and all the ice crumpled up.
Oh.
So they had to start all over again and patch all around so the water wouldn't sneak out by the boards. That's where they were going. And then we skated there a little after that. But it wasn't too successful, as far as I know.
What was Walpole like in the 50s?
Walpole in the 50s?
What's your biggest recollection?
Everybody in those days, not everybody, but almost everybody, either worked in Bird Machine in South Walpole, Bird and Sundown in East Walpole, Hollingsworth and Voss, or Kendall Mills. If you didn't work there, you didn't have a job.
And my in-laws worked at Kendall their whole lives.
Yeah.
And you mentioned your dad worked at Kendall.
He worked in the boiler room.
He was in the boiler room.
Yeah,
Holy
he took
crow.
care of the boiler room.
That was not an easy job.
No, there was a lot of shoveling into bins and lugging them up and throwing them in the furnace
Yeah.
out in the cold, but once you were inside, it was nice and warm. Here's a story. He had a worker, I don't know what the guy's name was, but he liked his tea, to say the least.
Uh-huh.
He used to climb up and hide his bottle in the tank for the John. So one day the John wasn't working, and my father crawled up there to see what was wrong and found this nice bottle of gin up there. That was the end of that trick. Oh, yeah.
Did he bring it home?
No, my father was not a drinker. He'd have half a beer. He was a non-Irish drinker. There's not too many of us around. So he had a job where he worked 6 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, which was pretty good because he got out, he was home at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was up at 5:30 many a morning. And I was not one of these guys that stayed up at night. I like to go to bed early and get up early.
Mm-hmm.
So about 5:45, after my dad went to work in the summers, I'd throw the ball up against the wall out back. And this lady who lived about 5 houses up, she heard this whack, whack every morning. What in God's name is that? So a summer goes by, and the same thing starts happening the next year. So she crept through the trees down, and as she poked her head around the corner, it was me throwing a tennis ball up against the wall. And she said to me, "You're bound for the big leagues." How about that?
And there you go.
Yeah. One day I broke a window out back. It was bigger than that TV thing. My father had told me not to throw balls there because you're going to break one of them. Well, I broke one day. Now I had to wait all day, and my mother said, "Tell him as soon as he comes home." Well, he came home, and I was tidying along, and she said, "I think you got something to tell your father, Joe." "Yeah, Dad, I broke a window." "Where?" "Out back." "One of the big ones?" "Yeah." "Oh, okay." So he goes upstairs, and about 5 minutes later he comes back. It was a cold, wintry kind of day, late in the fall. We had to patch that thing up. But anyway, he comes downstairs, and I'm waiting for the hammers of hell to hit me. And he looks at me and he says, "Joe, if you're ever going to be a ball player, start working on your control."
golden words.
I almost died.
That's
Did you like that one?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
pretty
Not
good.
in the end how I thought it would.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I loved hockey though. You know why?
Why?
I loved playing hockey better than baseball. Because in baseball you can play a doubleheader and never have a ball hit to you.
Yeah.
In hockey, as soon as you go out there, you can get in the action, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's the best part about it. And to me, hockey was so much easier in baseball, wasn't even funny. I would tell you this, if I was born in Canada, I would have played in the National League for a long time.
Would you?
But in baseball, I was just another guy in the pineapple fields. You got it?
Yeah.
Very difficult baseball. Nobody can help you run through a field. You're on your own.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
But you stuck with it. I mean, baseball was your
Well, I played.
sport.
I was in the minor leagues for about 30 years.
Yes.
And then I got very fortunate when I got that Pawtucket job
Yes.
because I could live at home. That job became available, and so I put in for it. I was a AAA manager with the Pirates, but I put in for the job, and the minor league people said things look pretty good, but they never said I had the job. Now it's getting late. So I said, I got to call up the general manager of the Red Sox in his home at night. So I called him up, and he said, how the heck did you get my number? Oh, that's negatory. So I said, Mr. O'Connell, I don't know how I got it, but I would like that Pawtucket job. And he said to me, you know something? A lot of people have inquired about that job, but nobody has asked me, and I happen to be the the boss. You got the job.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So for 9 years, I was a Pawtucket manager.
Yes.
Then I scouted in the big leagues for a couple of years with the Red Sox.
Yes.
That's 11.
Yes.
And then I was a coach and a manager. I lived in my own home in baseball, our family, for 17 or 18 straight years. Nobody does that.
No,
So
they
I-
sure don't.
So when I forgot to be bashful, I made a lot of money.
That's a wonderful story. Well, you're a source of great pride to our community.
Yeah.
You've done an awful lot for our town.
Baseball's it was tough in them days.
It's still tough.
There was only 16 teams.
Yeah.
Now there's 30, so one year the Dodgers had 500 kids in spring training. Can you believe that? And the Cardinals at one time had 3 AAA teams. 3. Yeah, AAA, the top rung. But anyway, that's the way it goes. The world marches on, called Changing Times.
Yes, indeed.
Pawtucket went to Worcester. They were mad in Pawtucket. I was a little disappointed. I was hoping they'd stay, but it's changing times.
Tornadoes flew away.
Yeah, yeah. Hockey was a lot of fun, boy. A lot of fun.
Sounds like you enjoyed it more than baseball.
Well, it was like I say, it was you get in the act, it's up to yourself. If you're center iceman, you got it made. Because you can skate anywhere. You don't have to stay on the wing, so you can show people what you can do. Real easy. The Depression, you said?
Yeah.
We,
Now, you were just a kid. You were
We
born
were-
in 1930.
yeah, we didn't really know anything about depression. We heard about it probably when we were 6 or 8 years old. But those days were a lot of fun because without an automobile and a bicycle and money. Every time you went out somewhere and did something, it was a new adventure,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
I remember they used to preach to us in the hurricane, don't touch them wires laying around, you'll get electrocuted. Said that every day a few times.
Excuse me.
American. Have you ever heard of American Girl Shoe?
I have. And you
Well,
work for them.
It was in Everett in Norwood. They sold ladies' boots, short boots.
Yes.
It was a monstrous place. The biggest, the warehouse they had was about as big as a football field. We had all these lists that we had to fill for different stores,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the boss of the place. I worked from 4 to 12 midnight, and these kids were a riot. It was so big, they'd be sleeping in these boxes, and I'd have to roam around walking for 8 hours to try to catch them, you know? But one time we got a whole load of shoes from Italy, but they were all right-hand boots.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So then, a week or something later, we get the other shoes, all lefties. Now we had to sort them out and tie them up together. That was something. I could buy a pair of ladies' boots. They were going for about $20.
Yeah.
They were all leather. They were pretty good. Couple of different colors for $5. So I bought Dottie, my wife, a pair, and all her friends for $5.
That's
I
pretty
was
good.
I was a hero for a while.
I bet you were.
We had some great times at the Blessed Sacrament. We would skate down Memorial Pond, and when it was freezing out, we'd go up to the church, sit around up back for a half an hour, and then go down and skate again. I'll tell you a couple of stories now. One was in the church. This kid he helped in the collection on Sundays.
Yeah.
And when he came to our row, he knew Danny didn't have any money. So he held the box in front of him for an eternity. Now,
Just to be fresh.
yeah, Danny's turned red and white, and then the kid left. Now, the next week, we're all in our seats, but Danny isn't there. Here he comes just before the priest comes out, and he goes way down in the middle and goes way in. Now, when Fitzy comes reaching way in, Danny reaches under his shirt and pulls this bag out and fires it into the collection box. Down it goes, money everywhere. In those days, there was no bills. It was all coins. They were everywhere.
What did he throw in?
What Danny did, he put 200 pennies in the bag with 2 stones about this big to make sure the job was well done. Amen.
He deserved it.
He deserved it, is right. Here's what happened to me one time. We were up to the church at the carnival they had every year, and they were putting the Ferris wheel together. And the boss said, you kids want to ride? We're going to test it. Okay, we rip around a few times. Stops the machine, tells the workers they can go to lunch. Now he says, do you want to ride again? Yeah. Round and round we go and go. Now I'm getting dizzy. I got to get off this thing. So I look around. I can't see the boss. He's nowhere in sight. We're the only 4 people on the grounds going around and around. Boy, I was getting sick. I almost wanted to grab the bar and leap up, but I didn't do it, as you can see.
Well, it's a good thing you did.
Well, anyway, but here, finally the boss comes back. And we find out, though, that he went downtown later to grab a hamburger. He must have been gone 20 to 25 minutes. When he took the bar up, I took one step and I fell to my stomach and my chest. crawled over to the church, put my thing up against the wall, and stayed there for quite a while. Finally, I staggered home. Now the worst is to come. Every time I lay down and closed my eyes, the world went around. Oh, it was sickening. That happened for about 2 days. So my mother finally says, I gotta get the doctor down here, check on you. So Doc Cornell shows up the next day, and he said, Joe, stand up. Put your feet together, put your arms down by your side, shut your eyes, and don't blink. Don't blink. 5 seconds later, he said, okay, Joe, open your eyes. And he says, you know, you're all right, but you're a little bit wobbly, but you're gonna be okay. Wobbly. I said, okay. Now, the next summer, every once in a while when I was outside, my head had this funny feeling in it. It's sickening. So I'd go home, lay down for a while, and it'd go away. Happened about 3 or 4 times. To make a long story short, someone found out, maybe the doctor, my dad was getting unpasteurized milk from a guy he knew, and this is what was causing it. And nobody else got sick. My 2 brothers, 2 sisters, they drank as much as I did, and nobody got sick. So when I quit drinking it, it went away. I'll tell you one hockey story.
Okay.
One day we're playing in the Boston Arena, Saturday afternoon, and the record for one game was 7 points. And I had scored 7 points, and the game was still going on. So our coach, he gets this little kid, he's a freshman, and he lets him play, and he skates on out, and people are looking at him, and boy, he looked like the water boy. But anyway, as the game went on, I gave him a pass right in front of the net, and he scores an easy goal. Now, away he went, so we skate off the ice, and they announced the goal, but the referee didn't give me my assist, because everybody was laughing and joking, calling the kid a water boy, you know? So we didn't make any bones about it. I got 7 points, and that was it. We could have challenged it, but it was something. But the kid was so tiny. Unbelievable.
The water boy.
The water boy scores again. You ever hear of Lenny Zaglaski?
No.
Good Walpole athlete, played at BC, and I played a little bit with him in college. He was the class of 44. And I was sitting on the bench one day. Listen to this now. We were playing Harvard, right? The score at the end of 2 periods, unbelievably, was Harvard 9, BC 5. Can you imagine 14 goals scored in 2 periods? So in the 3rd period, we score 4 goals and tie the game up. So now there's about, I think, 40 seconds to go, and Harvard gets a penalty. And we have a face-off down the Harvard end. So I'm sitting next to my coach, Kelly, and I said, hey, I can get you this face-off. He didn't pay much attention. Then he said, what did you say? I can get you this face-off. He says you can? Yeah, go out and get it. So I went out there. I told the kid, you got to go in. I'm going to take the face-off. So I whispered to Lenny, I'm going to get you the puck, Lenny. He was right behind me.
Yeah.
So when the ref dropped the puck, I didn't pay any attention. I skated right for the boards where I knew he was going to slip it over there. Sure enough, he did. It bounced back to me. I passed it to Lenny. He golfed it in the net, and we won 10-9.
Wow.
How about that? I put myself on the spot, and it worked out.
Very good.
That's the kind of play you only use when you want to win.
Absolutely.
Never use a hidden ball trick play when it don't mean anything. and never use them in spring training. Don't
Yes.
let anybody see anything.